당신들도 나처럼 뜨거웠기를, 쓰리고 아팠기를.
Just a few days before The Glory Part 2 lands on Netflix, we're already expecting a brutal and savage path to destruction as Dong Eun exacts her revenge on her enemies. Part 2 is going to be amazingly savage and brutal. This is what the creators of the show had to say. Writer Kim Won-suk has stated, Part 2 is refreshingly satisfying and shockingly intense. While director An Gi-ho said, the fight between Dong Eun and Yeon Jin really takes off and the perpetrators dynamically meet their end. You won't be able to take your eyes off the screen. All elements of the story will now come full circle. We certainly hope that they won't pull any punches in Part 2, and those words live up to our expectations. Nothing would be more sweet than to see Yeon Jin and her friends meet their demise in the most brutal way possible. So here are our top 3 predictions for The Glory Part 2.
Number 1, the love triangle between Hye Jeong, Do Young, and Dong Eun. We all might be thinking that part of Dong Eun's plan to ruin Yeon Jin's life is by seducing Do Young, and then we might get some sort of complicated love triangle between these three, but that would totally ruin the show. Dong Eun is on a path to destruction, and if there's anyone that's going to go down in flames with her, it's going to be Hye Jeong. Will they have some sort of romance along the way? The answer is no. Don't forget that Hye Jeong is also messed up in his own way, and he wants to join Dong Eun's sword dance. In the trailer, he says, "That woman is my salvation," which could mean that her vengeance will be the one thing that fulfills that missing piece in his life. So all of this guilt and inner rage has been simmering within him for quite some time, and Dong Eun's vengeance is his best bet to release that rage. Number 2, who killed Myeong-o? We know that it was someone who was wearing green heels, and the low-hanging fruit so far all points to Yeon Jin. But here's the kicker. Aside from Myeong-o being jealous and resentful of his rich friends, there's also Hye Jeong. Doesn't she also own a pair of green heels?
그거 연진이 구두 아니냐?
런던 비행 때 샀어. 연진이한테도 있는지 몰랐네.
In part 1, she begs Dong Eun to spare her, agreeing to do whatever she wanted, even going so far as to beg on her knees. What if she's the one that struck that fatal blow to Myeong-o? Definitely something to think about. Number 3, Dong Eun's high school nurse. No one seems to be talking about this one important detail. Yes, Dong Eun's high school nurse has resurfaced to now work for Hye Jeong. During the trailer, we see Hye Jeong about to perform some sort of procedure on someone, and there's some crazy theories out there, including one where Dong Eun will have face surgery to look like Yeon Jin. But here's a more satisfying prediction. We see fire in the latest trailer for Part 2, and perhaps that has something to do with Yeon Jin getting burned somewhere. Maybe it's some part of her body, or maybe even her face. We know that Hye Jeong just opened his clinic in the area, so it's a good bet that Yeon Jin will find her way to seek his services. A school nurse, though? We're going to assume that she runs into Yeon Jin by accident to coincidentally plant the seed about the new and hottest surgeon in town to be none other than Hye Jeong.
But the school nurse, though, coming back into the picture, working for Hye Jeong, that's something that no one's really talked about. It just kind of happened in part 1, and then that's it. Like, swept under the rug. The rest of the way is gonna be like all this brutality that's about to happen.
Yeah, you know, I haven't felt this way since Emily Van Camp's Revenge. And I really hope I don't feel the same way, because that was a really, really crappy conclusion to that show. The directors are saying that there's going to be some dynamic ways in which the perpetrators see their ends, and I'm hoping that the fire that was shown in the trailer has something to do with some kind of comeuppance with Yeon Jin and Dong Eun having been burned all over her body with the curling iron.
Yes.
So there is some justice there to be had where Yeon Jin is burned in some way.
Do you think the procedure that we see Hye Jeong like performing is Yeon Jin, and he's probably gonna maybe disfigure her somehow?
I'm not sure. I do
make
know,
her
though,
suffer.
when Yeon Jin gets burned and gets disfigured, she might get face surgery. And Dong Eun takes this opportunity to also undergo face surgery to look like Yeon Jin so that she could seduce Do Young.
That is pretty crazy. Wow. That is kind of some of the theories that's been circulating out there that might happen. So what do you guys think in part 2? It's going to be brutal. It's going to be savage. You have your own theories. Leave it down in the comment section below. But once again, leave us a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Tap that bell so you know when we post new videos. And this is what we're watching this Sunday. We'll see you next time.
관심이 없죠. 난 그래도 그대네요. 하늘의 별